Hi, it's Callie. This is, well, to be honest with you, it's not actually still Saturday where I am in Britain. It has ticked over into Sunday, and I apologise, but I haven't had very much time for myself today. Um, I've been working on an essay. First, I was working in the bookshop where I work, and then I was working on an essay, and then I went to a friend's party, and I thought, well, I'll just go for an hour and just stay for a study break, and 1 hour turned into 4 hours, and now I'm home, and I'm about to do the washing up, um, which I still have to do before I continue to work on my essay and then go to bed, which will probably be in very much in the wee hours. Um, but of course, GenderqueerChat comes first, even before washing up. So the topic this week is the TSA in America and the full body scanners that they have at airports, which you will probably have heard of by now in other people's videos. But basically what it is that when you fly somewhere, you have to go through a scanner. Either you have to go through a scanner which produces an image of effectively your naked body so that people can see whether you're carrying something or not, and or you are patted down with a sort of quite invasive pat down, by the sounds of it, which obviously neither situation exactly protects people's privacy, and it's especially worrying for trans people. And sort of, I think people in general, I think it's pretty, vile and invasive and shouldn't happen. And I looked up to see what the situation is in Britain, and to my surprise, because I don't fly as a rule, I haven't flown for a while. I may be flying in January if I go to visit my friend who's abroad studying in Munich. But I haven't flown in a while, but I knew that we did have these full body scanners, and I think, as far as I know, they're only in 2 airports in Britain so far, which is in Manchester and Heathrow in London. And to my surprise, what it says is we don't have the option of pat down. Is you go through the scanner, and if you don't want to be scanned, then you don't get to fly. Is what it says on the I've got in Firefox. I've got the Manchester Airport website open, and it says, "This may seem harsh, but our primary concern is for the safety of passengers and crew alike." So that's that as far as they're concerned. However, what they say is that the person who looks at the scanned image of you is not looking at the you. And the last item on their FAQ is, "I am transgendered," and they say that this shouldn't be an issue since the person looking at your scanner is just checking to see if you have a weapon on you and is not and can't see your actual sort of physical self, which I suppose means that there are not going to be issues for trans people getting grief for being for sort of the person looking at them and then looking at the screen and saying, "Hang on, that doesn't match." But still, I still think that it's an invasion of privacy, and that it's not that Jo. I'm not going to go over the ground that she went over already, but Jo has talked in her video about the how they do it in Israel, which is that they sort of do checks as you're coming up to the airport, and they're trained sort of, it's more sort of psychological, and they look you in the eye and they say, "How are you?" And that really seems like a much more human way of doing it than just brute force saying, "Well, we're going to scan you and see if you've got something on you." And so and Chris talked about how it's very much locking the door after the horse is bolted, as far as terrorism is concerned. So, I mean, I will probably, if I fly to Germany this January, um, or whenever it is I go, um, fly from a Scottish airport, and as far as I'm aware, we don't have any of these scanners in Scotland as yet. You know, thank goodness. But were it to be an issue, I don't think that my gender queerness really comes into it, because while I do have an unusual appearance, let's go with that, it is quite obvious what my physical sex is, and that's that. I am not red, as I have discussed in previous videos. I am not red as female, and I'm more or less alright with that. But I do kind of have this dissociation with my not a dissociation with my body, but a dissociation with my, as it were, junk. And, you know, I don't really feel like it's part of me. I'm not quite sure how relevant this is, and this seems very personal, but being the only British person, I shall try and sort of lower my reservations, which we habitually culturally have about these sorts of things. I don't feel like it's part of me. I have become, actually, since sort of coming out as genderqueer and coming to terms with my genderqueer identity, I have actually felt much more comfortable and in touch with my body, except for, you know, that part of it. And I don't feel that I want to, you know, have a sort of surgical step. I don't, it's sort of, most of the time, I'm sort of just fine. It's just exists and is there. But you know, I'm not super, like, it doesn't feel like part of me. But I think that as a consequence of that, I wouldn't want somebody, you know, going there, because that then prompts me to think about it and relate to it. That's just from my personal perspective. I don't think, to be honest, that anybody should be touching anybody's unless they are, you know, want them to. So that's my take on it. As I say, not a flyer, so don't really have much first-hand experience, but for the record, it's ridiculous, and I think that, you know, if action is being taken against it and people are protesting against it, then good, and I would completely support that. And if it comes to Scotland, then, you know, I'll be there, you know, signing petitions, and I feel it is a massive invasion of privacy. I'm going to stop rambling now, but have a good week, and yeah, see you next time.